Hey guys, Matt here with the iTech224 podcast number 5. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. The first one is WWDC 2013, and that is finally announced, so we know the dates for that, so we'll talk about what to expect there. Then I'm going to talk about my HTC One first impressions. This is one of the best Android phones right now, arguably the best, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think about it. Not a full review, just kind of my first opinions. And then I'm going to talk about what I want in the next version of Android. So the new version should be coming out soon, and I'll tell you guys what I want, not so much in feature set, but just in general what I want from Android. So let's start out with WWDC. So that Apple announced this morning, which is April 24th, that WWDC will be happening June 10th through the 14th. And so what should we expect here? That's the developers conference, which means everyone who makes apps and all that kind of stuff. This is where they go to learn more about how to make better apps, and this is where they learn how to use the new APIs that Apple releases in the new version of iOS, presuming that they do that. So what should we expect? Well, we should expect the new version of iOS to be announced, and maybe a new version of macOS 10. Now, it's not... I'm almost 100% positive we'll see the new version of iOS. It's not going to be released. They usually release it with the new iPhone, so that I don't think we're going to see a new iPhone or anything like that. But the new version of iOS, we should get the sneak peek, and then developers should get it. And since I'm registered as one, that means I should get it. So definitely stay tuned for videos on that. But yeah, so iOS 7, I've talked about that plenty of times about what I think we're going to have in iOS 7. So just go watch those other podcasts because I've talked about it too much to talk about it again here. But OS 10, so what would be the new version of OS 10? Well, most likely, if we do see it, it's going to have more integration with iOS. So we're going to see things, we'll probably see Siri, full-on Siri, which I don't use voice dictation, which we have now. I don't use that at all on the Mac. Actually, no, that's not true. I do use it sometimes for searches when I'm really lazy and I just don't want to type out and like I'm leaning over and I just want to search something really quick. I'll like double-click the button and search it. But I don't know if I'd use Siri, but on the computer it could be a whole new thing. I mean, computers don't have a Siri-like feature right now, so it could be really cool. We'd also see, just more integration with iOS, so it'd probably be, I don't know, something with iOS. It would just, maybe it'll look more like iOS. But I don't know what we're going to see from the new version of OS 10, really, to be honest. There's not too many rumors going on around about it. There's just rumors that we will see it. But also, the next thing at WWDC is that we might see the Apple iWatch. So, if you look at the banner that they released, it is WWDC spelled out, and then in kind of like a mirrored fashion, it is 2013 in Roman numerals, which makes sense because 2013. But why would they do Roman numerals? So, pretty much the only place you see Roman numerals nowadays are in clocks. Clocks, iWatch, just thinking about it. So we could possibly see the iWatch, and Tim Cook did say that there's new products to be held and new categories of products that we should be expecting. So is that the iWatch? Is that the Apple TV? Who knows? But so yeah, WWDC, June 10th through the 14th. I'm excited. I wish I could go, but it's expensive. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning, but if you don't know that, then you're not going, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'm excited, and make sure you guys stay tuned because I'm definitely going to have videos on that. Next up, I'll leave my HTC One thoughts till the end. Next up is what do I want in the next version of Android? So this is the Nexus 4, runs stock Android, runs it beautifully. But what do I want in Keyline Pi, which is Android 5.0? Well, that's what it's supposed to be called at least. So in terms of features, I've said this many times, but I don't really know what else we could have, really. We can have the stupid gimmicks that Samsung does, that kind of stuff where you wave your hand over the phone. But for the most part, no one uses those things. Those are just selling points for when you go into the AT&T store and you can say, oh, I can wave my hand over this. But in reality, you don't use those kind of things. So I don't know what kind of features we can have. But what I want to see from Android is better stability. Well, not so much stability, but just better integration throughout the whole ecosystem. So for instance, right now I have if you go into the notification center or not notification center, but the notifications, it has the Holo theme, which is I think it's the Hollow. It's either Hollow or Halo. I can't exactly remember, but it has that theme, which is kind of present throughout Android, which I think looks great. It looks very futuristic and sleek, and I like the way it looks a lot. But then if you go into like Google Plus or some of Google's apps, it has another flat design, which I think looks just as good, if not better. But why are there two different things? It's both from Google. You should have system-wide user interface that looks the same. You know, it's things like that that I want. So yes, I know Project Butter and 4.1 and 4.2 really helped, and they really did. 4.2 is so close to being perfect, but there's still points, and there's a lot of points where it lags, and it lags bad. Like, not just like little jitter, but like it lags bad. And especially in animations when closing and opening apps, you can definitely tell it there, and when scrolling. And I don't really know what the issue is. Maybe it's just the individual apps, or maybe, oh dang it, I just started TuneIn Radio on my Nexus 4 on accident. Hopefully it doesn't start playing. But yeah, so like, why? I don't understand why it's so hard for it to just not have that lag. Like, iOS doesn't have it, Windows Phone doesn't have it. What's up? It's been out for like 5 years. Why does it still have this lag? And hopefully in iOS, or not iOS 5, but Android 5.0, we can finally have that fixed, because that, to me, is a big issue, and it's one of the main reasons why I still stick with iOS. It's because I can't deal with the lagginess. And yeah, so there's just those kind of things that I really hope to see in Android 5.0. Let me know what you guys want, because I know a lot of people like Android. I like it too. I just want to know what you guys think we could see. And that we're going to most likely see that at Google I/O, which is happening May 12th, I believe. So yeah, very soon coming up, we're going to most likely see the next version of Android, which I'm excited for. So, next up, let's talk about the HTC One. This is a beautiful phone. So, it has a 4.7-inch 1080p display. And it's a very nice display. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not going to lie, I was kind of surprised at how not amazed I was by it. So yes, it looks beautiful. It's the sharpest display I've ever seen in my life. It has the most pixels I've ever seen, and it looks amazing. But I don't know, I was just expecting it to be like mind-blowing, but it doesn't look any better than any other screen I've seen, really. Like, I could tell it's sharper, but it just doesn't look like I don't know. It just doesn't look like I was expecting it to. That's not to say it's a bad screen or anything. It's a great screen and it looks great. But I was hoping for a little bit more. But that was just me hyping it up a little bit too much, probably. So that's probably all that was. Like I said, it's still an amazing screen. Sense 5, which is the new version of Sense, which is the skin that the HTC lays over Android. At first, I hated it. I still don't like it, but I've gotten used to it, and it works pretty well. You have this thing right here called Blink Feed, which is basically like Flipboard for your home screen. And I actually found myself using it every once in a while, which was interesting. I did not expect myself to be using Blink Feed, but I use it every once in a while. It's helpful for a few little things of information. Not exactly where I'm going to be doing all my information searching, but it's nice for when I'm, just checking it really quickly. Let's see what else. There's two things that I can't stand. First one is the keyboard. The stock keyboard is, I can't really explain how bad it is. It's the worst keyboard I've ever used, ever. It's not good. So I got SwiftKey on there, and then I got Swipe, which was just released into the Android Play Store. So I got Swipe. I'm liking it so far. It worked way better than the stock Sense keyboard. Ooh, that was bad. And then the second thing is that the home button and the back button are terrible. I mean, first of all, HTC in the middle, the HTC logo, why is that not the home button? Why is the home button on the side? The amount of times I've clicked the HTC logo thinking it's the home button, I do it almost every day. It's annoying. And then the home button itself, I just wish they were software buttons, because I keep hitting them and the sensitivity on them is just, there must be something wrong with the sensitivity, because I can hit it like 3 times and sometimes it won't even register that I hit the home button. And that's really annoying. Same with the back button. Back button feels the same way, so like I'll click it and sometimes it just doesn't register. But those are basically the two main things, the keyboard and those buttons. Those are the main things that I really don't like. The camera, which is the Ultra, I was going to say Ultra View, but it's the Ultra Pixel camera. I did a video test on that, so you can go ahead and check that out. It didn't impress me, but it works well. So like it's not better than any other camera. But it's definitely a good camera. So, yeah, it didn't give me any better results than I ever got with my iPhone 5 or really any phone I've tried. It did do a lot better in low light performance, but like I said in my video, the performance, the point where this outperforms the other phones, the pictures that you get from it aren't even usable. Like there's just so much noise, and the processor is trying to get rid of that noise so much that it just looks terrible. But it can definitely pick up a lot of light in low light situations. But yeah, so overall I'm liking it. But again, it comes back to the thing of like HTC Sense 5 is nice, but guess what? This is running Android 4.1.2, which means it's already out of date. It's a brand new phone that just came out and it's already out of date. Why can't I have stock Android on whatever phone I want without rooting? That's just something silly. I think Google needs to state their dominance and say, you can have your skin, but you have to have a way to turn it off as well. I think it's just simple. People can have their skin. Most people aren't going to turn it off. Most people are going to use it because they don't even know that's an option. But for people like us who like these kind of things and we want the best experience possible, right now, stock Android is the best experience possible on an Android phone. So give me that option. It's already out of date. How is that okay? It just boggles my mind. So let's see. Yeah, the HTC One is a great phone. Oh, one more thing is boom sound, which is these speakers on the front. I was really impressed with them. They're not loud. So one thing I've heard people say is that the speakers are supposed to be louder, and I thought they were, but when comparing it to like the iPhone 5, they're not any louder. But they sound about 20 times better. And I'm not sure what kind of like technology they're putting into it. I don't know if there's actually anything going into it. But maybe it's just like an equalizer, but it sounds like there's a lower end on it. So with like the iPhone 5 and most phones, it's just really tinny. There's no bass to it. And the boom sound gives it some bass. It gives it some boom. But yeah, so it sounds really good, but it's not loud like I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like really loud and really amazing. And the speakers sound amazing, but they're just not loud, which is fine. And they're loud enough. They're just not any louder than any other phone I've tried. And so last but not least, the build quality. So the build quality is pretty nice. There's one thing that I don't like, and it's the white band that goes around and goes through. And I know why they need that. They need that because that's the only way you're going to get reception through this phone. But something about the white bothers me. It's like an eggshell white, first of all, so it's not actually white, which looks terrible to me. But then there's black on the front, then there's silver from the aluminum. It's just like there's too many colors going on there. It feels like maybe if they made that black, maybe it would look better. I don't know. It feels like they could have done a little bit better job on that plastic. But besides that, the like actual build of it is really, really nice. So there's no flex whatsoever. Actually, one thing that I did figure out is that there's no way I can show you this, at least in this, like right now, but the screen in this corner actually kind of bent in a little bit. I didn't drop it or anything. I've actually been really careful with it because I plan on returning it. So when I set it down, like I lay it gently like a baby. And when I put it in my pocket, I make sure it's in my pocket before I let go of it. And, I'm really careful with it. But for whatever reason, maybe it was like this when I got it, but the screen is like going down or the edge is lifting up. Something's happening, but there's a sharp edge right here and you can actually see it. I don't know if that's bad build quality. Maybe I got a bad one, but just pointing these things out. So stay tuned for my full review coming up in the next week. Hopefully I'll get that done this weekend, maybe middle of next week. But stay tuned for that. I'm really loving the phone. It's my favorite Android phone I've used so far, and I've actually used it every day since I got it. So I've carried the iPhone 5 with me, but I haven't actually used it very much, which is good. That means that I'm actually enjoying the HTC One. So that is it for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up. And like I said last week, and like I've said every week, I'm still working on all the, the intro and stuff like that. And I'm going to get this on iTunes. I promise it's going to get there so that you guys can listen to it on your iPod or your phone and not have to watch the video. You can just listen to the audio. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Make sure you guys leave your comments down below letting me know what you guys, let me know your opinions on these stories, what you guys think we're going to see at WWDC, and what do you want to see in the next version of Android, and what's your opinion on the HTC One? Do you want one? Do you want the Galaxy S4? Let me know. So, yeah, like I said, my name's Matt from iTech224, and I'll see you guys on my next podcast or my next video, whichever comes first. See ya.